Alright, so here we are, just a quick draw over session, and this time obviously not a video I normally do because I don't do too many drawing videos, but here I am just going through a video that I did drawing the Lioness, and this is part of the Iron Blaze course, so I took that. I was just curious to see how he handles charcoal, and yeah, I quite liked it, so I used a few of the techniques that he shows, and I didn't copy his style, but I did copy a few things like the composition and just the kind of way he dealt with fur. But for the most part, I didn't copy his technique exactly. I varied a few things here and there, and you can have a look at that as we go through the course. So yeah, let's jump right in. Alright, so here we are, and all I have is just a blank canvas, or well, not too blank in this case, just slightly pink, like an off pink really. And here you can see, I'm just using this color here, so 300 808, kind of a maroon, dark maroon color, right? Just to draw with. I've kind of been experimenting with darker colors here and there, just so I can get myself away from drawing in black and white. And the image size would be about 2685 and 3412, so just slightly bigger than 4K, I guess. Alright, so let's actually get started. I'm going to use a bigger brush here and just color that in, and I kind of want to see the strokes, so that's why I'm using that. You could just use the full brush instead of the full bucket, but obviously here you can actually see the strokes, so that's good. And next I will create a new layer, and I will put just a basic sketch of the line in, and in this case I'm being pretty blocky with it. It's back in the day it would probably be a little bit more curved with my lines, but here I'm being a little bit more mechanical, I guess. But as we go, you won't see the blockiness of it, but it's kind of a good idea to use straights just to map things out. Not all the time, but in this case, since the line is an organic thing, it would be a good idea just to kind of block things out literally using straights, right? So here, just trying to move things around, and actually this isn't what the drawing looks like because I did this part without recording, so I'm just recording this part really quickly to show you what I did to get to this part. But yeah, you'll know, I'll show you what it looks like, what it really looks like. So yeah, this is pretty much it. I'm done. Right, just getting all the basic features, right, the main points, and here is the actual one, right? So here it's a little bit more aggressive, right, the shape. And I think I was listening to heavy metal. That's probably why it looks a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, I do like the original one a little bit more. And that's the one we will be working with. So here it is here, just finishing things off. But like I said, I didn't record this part, which is why I recorded that one. And now we're back to this one here. So you don't have to worry about me going back and forth. Yeah, just finishing things off. Like I said, keeping things relatively blocky, a few curves here and there. But for the most part, quite a few straight lines. Again, I probably wouldn't have worked like this when I was a kid. But then again, I don't really know too much about drawing back then, so yeah, keeping things relatively blocky. And so what I'm doing here is, this is from the Iron Blaze course and the charcoal drawing, which you can find on his website. And what he does is he erases from it, and he's drawing on actual canvas. I'm drawing digitally, obviously. So what I'm doing is, instead of drawing on this, I'm actually erasing from that wash or value that I put down. So again, you could either draw on it or erase from it, but I'm just using his technique, which is erasing. For the fur, he was quite detailed actually, but what I'm doing here is I am kind of laying down the general direction of the fur, and yeah, right, I'm not getting too detailed with it. Here by the nose, you can see I kind of struggle a little bit because I don't know any line anatomy, so I'm just kind of guessing. But I do know how to draw fur, and it's actually been a while since I've drawn an animal, probably a couple of years actually. Because I used to draw animals as a kid all the time. I just stopped as an adult. I don't know why. But yeah, so I quite like getting this drawing done. Total drawing time was about 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So again, yeah, just getting in these markings. A little bit messy on this area, but we will clean it up a little bit later. So like I said, when Aaron was doing it, his was way more accurate and far more detailed than what I was doing right here. But I feel like going that detailed that quickly is a bad idea. Right, especially if you haven't drawn animals or fur that much. So what I'm doing here is just laying down the groundwork basically, and then I'll come back and then kind of finalize things. So here as well, a little bit messy, but I do erase it and come back. So they have that forearm, sort of bicep area. Okay, here getting a little bit more detailed, and I am varying the size of the brush a little bit more. Yeah, just skipping ahead, right? You didn't really miss anything. Okay, there again, just getting in these areas and then fading it out a little bit. And if you do look at his one, you can see I'm kind of copying the composition a little bit. So here going into the darks, and this area is pretty much pitch black. So I'm also using the darkest value that I can get from this color, which is that. And here with the nose, you can see a little bit of the nostril, so I'm just getting that in. And again, it's still kind of blocky at this stage, but I am adding more curves. Okay, and then shading that in a little bit, and over here by the mouth as well, really dark. And also shading that in because it is quite furry, so kind of making sure I have that as well. And then also erasing. And I am using different layers for this, so the fur was on a different, or rather the fur is on the same layer as the background because I'm erasing from that, and this layer is a separate layer. So they're getting in those sort of whiskers, or the marks for the whiskers, and here getting in the front of the goatee, right? Detailing it just a little bit more than I normally would because I just wanted to see how much I could get away with here, or how much I remembered in terms of fur detailing. So yeah, I really went for it, right? Obviously detail at the stage that I shouldn't be detailing at, but I just wanted to see like how much I could get, or how well I could do detailing fur, even though I haven't done it in a while. And yeah, I think it looks pretty good. So I was quite happy with that. And yeah, again, I would do this on a different layer, but I was just seeing where I could go with this. Okay, so speaking of the lights, speaking of the darks, we're gonna do a second layer. So the secondary darks, I think that's what I call that. And here I'm just getting in all the dark areas, so basically all the shadows. And any dark skin or dark fur in this case that is there, I'm also laying that in. But for now, this is pretty much all shadow as far as I can remember. And also I'm not showing you the image I'm using because it's part of the course which I purchased, so I don't think they'd want me showing you the image from that. But you can have a look at the trailer, there's an image on there. So yeah, just fast forwarding through some of this, or skipping a few of that. So the darks that I put at the bottom there by the forearms, that I will erase out because I feel it's too dark. Because yeah, that's actually in the light, so it shouldn't be dark. So I will erase it later. Alright, so skipping ahead, kind of going for the second pass for the darks. Just making it a little bit darker. In Aaron's drawing, his isn't too contrasty. Mine, in the darks, I do make them quite dark, so yeah, a little bit of a difference there. And obviously I'm not copying exactly what he did, I'm doing my own thing as well. I just watched his video like here and there, skipped ahead just to kind of see what he was doing, and yeah. So yeah, there's a patch of dark fur on the ear over there, so that's what I'm doing. And here as well, a few darks, and then right over there, that's where that patch of darkness is, or dark fur. And here, this is actually inside the ear, so it's all shadow. But it is light fur on the inside of the ear. Right, so making sure to get that secondary detailing in for the darks. This is another layer now for this area. And yeah, just trying to get in the finer details. As you can see, I'm getting more and more accurate, right? Same thing here around the eye. Okay, I'm trying to go with the direction of the fur, so just being careful not to hatch, because I'm kind of used to hatching, kind of like I did with the nose. It's fine for the nose, but if you hatch with the fur, it kind of gives it a direction, which is, you may or may not want that. So you're also making sure to kind of erase areas, because that area is in the light, so I don't want to darken that too much. And yeah, here I'm really pushing the darks for the outline of the face on the left side, right? Here getting in, so yeah, it's quite a bit of a mix between lights and darks on the cheek. Okay, here's definitely dark on the jaw here. Right, using a little bit of a smaller brush here just to get in some more of those details. Again, not going too detailed too quickly. Like I said, when Aaron was drawing, he had quite a bit of detail. Like, he went into details really quickly. But yeah, but like I said, I don't think it's a good idea for me to do that because I haven't been drawing for anytime soon, so, or recently rather. So yeah, just kind of easing my way into it. So again, just trying to get those shadows and halftones as well. So yeah, with the cheek, as you can see, quite a bit of halftones going on there and shadows. So yeah, definitely shadow, right? And here as well. Alright, so next layer, I'm adding lights in this case, and as you can see, almost pure white. I think I have it just a little bit down from pure white, so that's not the color. I'm not using pure white, it's like a, yeah, like I said, an off-white. Still in the red range though. Make sure you don't go too much to the red side because you'll see it'll look pink, which you don't want obviously. unless you do want that, in which case it's different. So yeah, getting a little bit more detailed and actually going for the details on the fur and the light side. So here really the brush is quite small, and the brush I'm using is a free brush. I'll leave the link down below where I got it from. But yeah, pretty good for sketching. I quite like it, and it does a pretty good job. So I think, yeah, for a free brush, pretty good. Aaron Blaze also has brushes on his side, but I think this one's pretty good. So yeah. Here, getting a little bit detailed on the forearm there. I will erase a lot of that work down there by the biceps and the forearm. You'll see me later doing that. But for now, yeah, not too bad. It's first looking pretty good in the light. Yeah, not too bad. So like I said here, I will kind of erase some areas out because of the composition. And usually I'm not too good with lost and found edges. So Aaron Blaze is pretty good with that. Robert Kelly is really good with that as well. He's a pretty good artist. So check out Robert Kelly, and Aaron Blaze, obviously, check him out. His work is really good with animals, obviously. And I think Robert Kelly also does animals. But yeah, I don't really do the lost and found thing. So here you'll see me do it just as I'm fading out those edges towards the bottom right of the screen or of the drawing. Here I actually put the whiskers on a separate layer. So it's on its own layer. It's not on the light. On the lights, you can actually see me like undoing it and putting whiskers. So yeah, this is on its own layer. Just like kind of experiment with it, but yeah, I kept this one here. I didn't really change it. And yeah, that's about it for that one. Here I'm just blurring it. I'm creating a copy of this image and I'm blurring it out just so I can kind of compose this. So first, yeah, I'm just using like a really big brush. I'm like, I don't really like that look, so I'm just using the same brush and then just getting a general idea of how I want to compose this. Yes, you should do this first, by the way, before you actually start drawing, not now. But since it's digital, you can always come back to it and erase things, so that's fine. But these thumbnails are definitely something you want to do at the beginning of a drawing or before you start drawing. And so here what I'm doing is also composing the background, so light versus dark, and I'm thinking like maybe we put like plants here, or grass rather than plants. So I'm just kind of experimenting really quickly, just trying to see what works, what doesn't work. And yeah, the grass in the foreground I don't really like, so I erase that out because it's drawing too much attention. So yeah, as well, and this is kind of roughly what Aaron has on his lion. So I obviously looked at that and thought, yeah, that's a good one. And the vignette, that is something that a lot of people do, right? Basically, you put a lighter side where the face is, and then it gets darker as it fades out towards the body. So that's just what I'm doing here. And yeah, that's really all I'm doing. Again, using a bigger brush, and because I'm right-handed, the strokes look like that. With Aaron's work, he's left-handed, so you'll see the strokes kind of go in the opposite direction. And yes, it doesn't matter which hand you're using because the strokes will reflect that. So just be careful when you look at other artists and you think, ooh, the strokes are going in that direction, I should try and copy that because I'm right-handed. It might not be a good idea because it will be like very uncomfortable for you to do. So just be careful. So yeah, I kind of like that. Right, it's looking pretty good, and there's a little bit of action on the lines. I feel it might be a little too diagonal. I could have made it a little bit more vertical. Yeah, it might be a little too diagonal, right? Now that I look at it. So yeah, I'm switching it on and off just to kind of look. And yeah, I mean, yeah, I do like it. But like I said, a little bit more vertical would have probably been better. Right, so here, like I said, with the composition, just removing those areas, erasing it out. And I just skip through that. You don't have to see me erasing everything. Okay, so yeah, it's just a temporary layer, just so I can kind of see where I'm going for the composition there really quickly, where the lights, where the darks. And yeah, that looks pretty good, so that's what I'll be doing. Okay, so that's just what I did there really quickly, just so I can kind of have an idea of where I'm going with that. Again, you should do all this before you start drawing, not at the middle of the drawing. So speaking of that area, now I'm actually finalizing it. So the area or the layer that I put down, that was just a temporary layer, just for me to see what it looks like. And all I did was I just hit it, and now I'm actually putting another layer on top and erasing some of these areas, just so it doesn't draw too much attention. So here I put darks instead of lights, just so your eye isn't drawn towards that. Because you want all the attention to be by the face, obviously. And we don't want anything at the bottom kind of competing for that. And it also depends on what you're trying to do. You shouldn't just copy the picture randomly, right, or blindly. That's kind of the difference between artists and people that think they can draw. I'm not saying I am an amazing artist, I'm not. But when you have people that just copy exactly what they see, you know, it's kind of, it's not exactly, because you can just take a photo of something, or AI nowadays, right? It can just do stuff exactly as you see it. So composing is definitely a big part of drawing. And I'm pretty bad at composing, so that's why it took me a while to get this one. So here, actually going in with the lights, right, really with the finer details on the top right, you can see there. So here as well, just making sure I kind of dump some of these areas down, and then also try and get the lights and shadows correct. But also on this area, I'm not too worried about the details because it kind of fades out, so that's what I'm doing here. But yeah, the lights on the cheek here, or on the neck, I guess, looking pretty good. And here, just going in, right, kind of finalizing some of these details. We're pretty much on the final stages here. So really going in with the details. We're not doing too much work in terms of broad. Right, same thing here, just detailing the shadows a little bit more. And what I do is I'm erasing this a little bit, right, just because it's kind of too light, so I erase it out a little bit. So I want to keep the darks dark and the lights light, obviously. Keep a good amount of contrast in between them. You can see it here with the goatee, some really good contrast. And yeah, here going by the cheek, or the snout really, and just adding in the lights. Right, so there it is. Just a little bit of a basic light, and then I'll go in with the final lights, which, yeah, that's what I'm doing now. There you go. Because the cheek isn't exactly white fur, it's just light from the light, right, of the sun. It's not light, so the goatee is basically white fur, and all the neck area is also like white fur. These areas are catching quite a bit of light as well, and because I'm not very familiar with animal anatomy, you can see the snout is looking a little bit muddy in terms of details, because I'm not too sure how to treat that, which is why anatomy is important. You actually have to know what you're doing. So in that case, I don't know how to solve it, so that's why it's a little bit unsure. But yeah, coming together, I quite like it. Like I said, a few things that I would change, but I feel like, yeah, given my limited knowledge on anatomy, this is a pretty good drawing. So yeah, getting in some of these darker areas, you can see like these spots on the lion there. I don't know if they're actual spots, or if it's just like darks of the fur. I think it might be a combination of both. Alright, so here also getting in some of the darks, especially by the face, because I haven't really detailed the dark areas of the face here, so just getting into that. And here as well, just making sure not to hatch areas, because again, if you hatch, it'll show a direction to the fur itself, so you just want to be careful of that. Same thing here, just adding some of these final details, just going back and forth and just having a look at that. And yeah, we're pretty much done at this point. Just a few things to add, and yeah, just any areas that kind of catch my attention. Right, so yeah, like I said, by the snout, I'm unsure of the anatomy, so I don't really know how to detail it. So it looks a little bit messy. Right, so you're just going in with the darks and the lights, and just really trying to get that in there. But yeah, like I said, pretty much done here. All I want to do next is just add in the core and cast shadows, or rather exaggerate the core and cast shadows. So what I will do that over here in this step. Right, so over here, just getting in some of the cast shadows here, making sure to darken them out a little bit more. Right, over here. And also around these areas here. So just really getting in the core and cast shadows. By the way, if you don't know what core and cast shadows are, just Google them. Right, there's tons of tutorials. Cast shadows, as you can imagine, are cast shadows. Shadows cast by something. So in this case, the ear or the eye socket being cast onto the snout. Again, here, these are core shadows. Core shadows basically just where the light turns to shadow. That area is very dark. Okay, and that's all I'm doing there. Right, so just differentiating between core and cast, and just darkening them out. Just there's a little bit more contrast. And here as well, just darkening that area, because I feel it's not as dark. It shouldn't be that dark. All right, and here it is. So this is the right, the blockin. After that, we added in the lights. Again, I erased away the background. Right, that's what I did there, or the wash of color. Next, I added in the shadows. Okay, I over detailed the goatee just to see what that would look like. and then adding in the background a little bit more darks as well, just to kind of get that in there. And then here we go with the lights, might really adding to that because there's a lot of light in this picture, so that's really going to get that. And of course the finals, right? What I did was I just erased some of the errors on the forearm there, really pumped up the contrast on the snout and the shadows in general, and just finalized some things, right? You can see my drawing's a little bit more aggressive compared to Aaron's one. I'll show you his here in a second. Right, I don't think he'll mind me showing you this because it's part of the course. You can just see it on his site. You don't have to, you don't need to buy the course to see that. So yeah, overall, pretty happy. Like I said, some things I would change. The core and cow shadows, maybe work on that a little bit more. Yeah, composition, I feel it's okay. Right, yeah, just a few things here and there, but I feel, yeah, not too bad overall. A pretty good try after a couple of years, like I said. So yeah, normally I don't normally do drawing tutorial, well, this isn't a drawing tutorial, but it's more of a walkover. So yeah, I don't normally do that, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. So like it if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.